Welcome to GT Content. I'm Gary. Honda recently debuted the production model Civic Type R for the European market at the Geneva Motor Show. The next reveal will be in the USA at the New York Auto Show in April. This video will be a follow-up to a previous video I made speculating the pre-production 2017 Civic Type R. Let's go through and take a look. The Honda Civic Type R is going to be on sale in late spring in the USA. There won't be that much of a difference between the European model that was revealed at the Geneva Motor Show. It'll replace the current European FK2 Type R, which was only out for 2 years. The last Type R we received in the US was from Acura, so this will be the first time we get a Honda Type R. The 2018 Honda Civic Type R will be manufactured at Honda Swindon plant in the UK, and the engine will be built in Anna, Ohio, USA. It'll be priced around $35,000 and only offered in one trim, Touring. It should be arriving here in late spring. The 2017 Honda Civic Type R will use the same chassis as the lower-end model Civic hatchbacks, but it'll be modified from the regular one to be more track-oriented. You can see the performance additions to the Type R from the lower model Civics on this screen. The new hatchback platform will be 38% stiffer and has a 45% gain in bending rigidity than the previous FK2 Honda Civic Type R. They've also applied more structural adhesives in certain key areas. I would assume that the lower model Civic hatchbacks are also stiffer than the previous Type R because they're using this new hatchback chassis. There is a 15-pound difference between the Type R and the base model Civic hatchback. That's not much, but the power, aero, and suspension improvements should help the Type R much more. The 2017 Honda Civic Type R will receive the same K20C 2-liter VTEC turbo direct injected engine used in the previous FK Civic Type R. Notice that the engine cover has some carbon fiber to the sides of it, which makes it look more racy. The engine will get a 10 horsepower increase from the previous Type R to 316 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds with a 7,000 RPM redline. The redline is low compared to previous B or K series Type R motors, but the turbocharged K20C is designed to provide a broader power band without having to rev high to produce the power. I've not heard much discussion about boost, but this motor should be seeing 18 to 21 psi like the previous FK2 Type R. That's pretty high to me, but the small turbo should be responsive and requires high boost levels to meet Honda's Type R parameters. I'd like to know how much headroom there is because I wouldn't be happy if the engine was already close to maxed out from the factory. Hopefully, with aftermarket bolt-on upgrades like intake, downpipe, exhaust, and an ECU reflash, the power can be increased to 400 horsepower with the stock turbo. Honda states that the 3 exhaust tips work together in low RPMs, while at higher RPMs, the middle or smaller exhaust tip is used to reduce drone. A helical differential will be used to distribute the power between both front wheels. The helical differential is not as noisy as clutch-type LSDs, requires less maintenance, and is better suited for daily driving and probably light track use. I'd step up to a clutch type if I'm planning to really make it a track car. They've reduced the final gear ratio, so that would mean the gearing would be longer and the top speed would be increased. Gearing from 1st to 6th should also be longer and help spread the power out because if the gearing was short, the power would probably come on very quick and very violent. Some people may be concerned that the steering is electrical, so it may not feel as natural compared to a hydraulic setup, especially on a Type R, which should provide more raw feedback. I think it shouldn't be a problem because Honda's S2000 uses it and it handles very well and I have not heard of any complaints. This is the best photo I have right now of underneath the hood. The air scoop on the top hood sits far back and is functional, but it looks to only direct air towards the back of the firewall by this metal plate. I was speculating before that it would be directed to the intake box. The air for the intake box looks to be supplied in 2 ways. One from the front bumper area. You can see this compartment here which looks to funnel air in the front to the intake box. The second one, I'm still not too sure right now because the 2 bottom sides of the hood look very bulged and may be used to direct air from the hood scoop. If you look on the far side over here in this photo, you can see a rectangular vent which might provide cooling to this area. The rubber molding here doesn't completely surround this whole area, so there may be an opening to feed the intake compartment but I don't have a photo of it, so it's kind of hard to say right now. Let me know what you think. The rear roofline has vortex generators. This is an aero trick used to diffuse the air after the rear of the car because it can be turbulent. The diffused air will then travel over the large wing in a more controlled manner, and that'll help create downforce and traction for the rear tires. The front bumper has a splitter to reduce lift and create downforce for the front end. This is also a neat trick to keep the front drive wheels down because at high speeds, the front end will want to lift. The front suspension will have a dual access strut with aluminum lower arms and steering knuckles, which mimics a double wishbone. Having a true double wishbone system for the Type R and a McPherson strut setup on the same platform for the lower models can get expensive, so creating a dual access strut will allow them to interchange on the same platform and save money. They say it'll help with torque steer also, and I believe it should with the assistance of the wider track, tires, and adaptive dampeners. The rear will have an independent suspension compared to the previous Type R's torsion bar. An independent suspension will allow the rear wheels to operate independently from each other and provides better handling. You'll notice that a majority of performance cars with great handling have this type of suspension in the rear. Magnetic shocks will be used at all four corners. This is one of the key items in making the front-wheel drive Honda Civic Type R handle. The magnetic shocks can be adjusted for various conditions. The interior of the Type R also features heavily bolstered sports seats, leather-wrapped steering wheel and shift boot, aluminum shift knob, aluminum sports pedals, red Type R driver's meter, and serialized Type R plate on the center console. There will be 3 settings for the driver assist modes. Default will be Sport. A comfort mode was introduced on this model to be more daily driver friendly. Then there's the Plus R or Track mode, which stiffens the dampeners by 30% and affects the steering response, throttle mapping, rev matching, and stability control. The wheels are 20-inch aluminum alloy with 245/30R Continental Contest Sport Contact 6 tires, and there are Brembo brakes, 4 pistons in the front and 2 pistons in the rear. I don't see the need to go to 20-inch other than looks. Also notice that the brakes don't require larger wheels for clearance. I think a smaller wheel and tire combination would be lighter, accelerate faster, and provide a better ride. There are no performance numbers yet, but expect them to be similar to the previous Type R since it's the same engine with only a 10 horsepower increase. Performance-wise, it'll do a 0 to 60 around 5.7 seconds, run a mid 13-second quarter mile, and have a top speed slightly above 167 miles per hour. I'm not too sure if I would pay this much for a 13-second front-wheel drive car because there are a lot of options at this price point, but it's the nostalgia that may convince me. I hope you found this informational. Like and subscribe for future updates and videos. Let me know what you think about the 2017 Honda Civic Type R in the comments section below, and check out my other videos. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.